Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations in Horror, the podcast. I'm your host, Kevin L. Powers. I'm also the owner and operator of Something Wiki Entertainment and Events, and we want to welcome you to our program today. So what I love to do is I like to take an individual horror film from many different decades or many different subgenres, and me and my special guest will sit down. We're going to have a talk about it. We're going to have a conversation. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of that particular film in order to give you kind of an overview of why we either like the film, don't like the film, or why you probably need to avoid the film. That being said, whether or not you have seen the film or not, we hope that you are enjoying the conversation that we are given because it is going to be entertaining, not only for us, but hopefully for you. That being said, let's go ahead and get started with our program today, and I'm going to bring on my two special guests for this program, and that's going to be Mr. Thomas Tillerello, and Mr. Dave Watkins. I must apologize for that, Thomas. How you guys doing today?
What's up? Good.
Kevin, don't worry about it. That is not the most brutal mangling of my last name I have ever heard. Trust me.
It's
did
the first
fine.
time you've done it. You've said it a bunch of times. If
I
I tried to say it,
times.
if I tried to say it, I would probably bungle it too.
That's right.
And I'd get corrected.
You would, and I would correct you many times over the head.
All right, and the film we are discussing, because this month is our Wes Craven themed month, we have decided to take apart or have a conversation about Wes Craven's Deadly Friend from 1986. All right, so first off, I do want to know exactly when you guys came across this film and what were your impressions of this film, and we'll talk with you first, Mr. Dave, today.
Yeah, I feel like you've thrown out a few puns. I don't know if they're intentional about this movie, like, take
Nuts
it apart
and
nuts and bolts. I don't know if that was intentional or if it was
Definitely intentional. I'm trying to do puns more often than not. I've got the Forrest J. Ackerman spirit going through me lately as we record these.
Hope you got some more, man. Those are pretty good so far. So this movie is a Wes Craven movie, and I think when I saw it the first time, I knew it was. I saw it on television, I think 46 or something like that, and it was one that I recorded off the TV, and it was one that I put in the cycle of movies to watch. I would watch it regularly. I thought it was a kind of a robot slasher movie. That was the way I kind of treated it, but upon rewatching it, I have a little bit different point of view of the film. It's a little different than I remembered it.
What about you, Thomas?
Well, I'm not 100% positive, Mr. Kevin L. Powers, but I'm pretty sure that my first experience to this was Mr. Joe Bob Briggs' show on TNT called Monster Vision. And technically speaking, in those days, Monster Vision was actually divided into two kind of shows. One was Monster Vision proper, and then after a certain time of night when most people had already gone to bed on Friday or Saturday, whenever he was doing Monster Vision, he would do a thing called Joe Bob's Last Call. And it would basically be like Joe Bob in a different set that looked more like a diner, like a 50s diner, and he would do the movie from there. I think they called it Joe Bob's Last Call because they wanted to put the second slot movies that people probably would not find anywhere else and probably wouldn't even care to watch that much. So this is one of those that I watched, I think, part of on Joe Bob's Last Call because I probably didn't stay up all night because it's a bit of a chore sometimes when you're watching shows like that where you watch for the Joe Bob segments, but you also want to watch the movie, but there's also commercials.
So I would used to tape them, and I had the VHS. I would pop it in.
Dude, yeah, I wish I had thought to do that. I really freaking wish I had thought to do that because there are a lot of great Joe Bob fans out there, last drive-in mutants out there. God bless you who stayed up all those late nights on TNT and on Cinemax and on the movie channel where he had his show there, and you recorded them on good old VHS and put them on YouTube for us to watch. But
it was all. I mean, Joe Bob is all. He's still doing some stuff too.
Still doing,
But I remember him being on all the time. Man, I was into it too. I'd be on that.
Yep. Yeah. And I love. If I could afford Shudder, if I could afford one more, I would totally just watch his show because I have watched it a couple of times, and man, it's great. But yeah, it was. So I think if when we put this up on YouTube, I might be able to send you all the link to the host segments on that particular show because it's out there on YouTube. And it was kind of funny because Joe Bob clearly was like, well, this is worse than I remember it. And he goes, but no, when I did eventually see it all the way through, uncensored and uncut, was for this podcast, I think about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, interesting.
And because it's on Tubi, God bless the people of Tubi. They're doing the Lord's work. So, yes. And we'll get into what I thought about it once we are done. Although I will say, with this movie, again, ladies and gentlemen, your mileage may vary, depending on your particular taste for techno thrillers or, again, like Watkins suggested, robot slashers, which is a very small, very small subgenre that includes such mortal classics, like Chopping Mall and Death Machine, starring Brad Dourif.
Right. We were talking about Death Machine last night with the New Nightmare.
Yeah. Death Machine and I guess Rotor. And that's all I can think of at the moment. Like I said, it's a very small.
There's probably more. More.
Oh, no. There's one more. There's Evolver. Do you remember? Anybody remember Evolver?
No.
Yeah.
The little robot.
Kevin's real impressed with Evolver. He's like, hell yeah.
Yeah, it evolved.
I haven't seen it in ages, but yes, I have seen it.
Yeah, but he looked pissed when you said that. He's like, fuck that movie.
Well, this movie's got to be better than Evolver. Trust me.
Jesus. Well, I did not see this one at the theater. I was more or less like some of you out there. I saw this on television. So I saw the television cut with commercials and all that type of stuff. I was, in my small little brain, I was impressed by it. But this is one of the Wes Craven films that as I grew up and watched it more, I stopped watching it more. I stopped watching it more. I always liked Christy Swanson in this movie, but I just didn't, like the movie as a whole was just kind of like a made for TV movie for me. So it just never had the same sway as some of Craven's other films for me. And so I just never revisited it that often. I was like, I've seen it. I liked watching what's her face get her head smashed in with a basketball, but that's about it.
It's an odd movie. It's almost like a family movie for a little bit, and then it switches, which it's going to, but it does have a kind of the first 45 minutes is something I think when I was younger I kind of ignored it because it didn't seem right, even though there's a little bit of hint that something bad's going to happen, but then it gets bad and it kind of turns into like a really early AI, like Frankenstein type of film, that sort of thing.
Yeah. It did feel like almost like a Hammer Frankenstein at certain points, but because of the really bizarre, just like medical stuff that goes on in it. Yeah. But it does. You said earlier it felt like a TV thing, and for the longest time I thought it was a TV movie because like it had a kind of feel of that. Yes, like the dialogue especially feels very made for TV.
It's like a Disney movie, like a Disney kids movie.
Which is funny.
Flight of the Navigator comes to mind right away.
Which is funny because like this time period in Wes Craven's life, this is 1984 through 86. This was not a good period in his life. He did a lot of TV movies. Mm-hmm. This is and this is not one of them though. This movie did get released theatrically. But right after this, he did do a lot of TV movies and like episodes of the Twilight Zone reboot, The Wonderful World of Disney, and also
that was after this, so not before it, right?
Oh, after this, yeah.
And then, I was saying it would make sense if it happened before because he was probably used to it at that point. But now,
but also like he also did some neat little TV movies like Chiller, which I loved, which is the only cryogenic suspension horror movie that's probably out there. But this period eventually ended when he finally did Serpent and the Rainbow and started doing some of his more heftier movies in the early 90s. But
that movie's great, Serpent and the Rainbow.
But this is not a good period for him. Wes Craven was going through a really messy divorce at this time, so he was probably just trying very hard to survive mentally. Instead of just like caring about whether or not his vision. I don't think he had any real drive to fight for his vision of this movie, which was very different than
Well,
the
he didn't
version
write
that
this
is taken.
movie, so he didn't write this movie. So
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. But you know who did write this movie? And I was blown away by this.
yeah,
This movie was written by Bruce Joel Rubenstein?
Yeah,
Bruce Joel Rubin. Bruce Joel Rubin, for those of y'all who don't know, is a prolific Academy Award nominated screenwriter. This guy wrote Ghost. This guy wrote Ghost. This guy wrote, what else did he write? I got notes on here. He wrote a bunch of other great movies, like freaking, or movies that could have been great, but didn't end up being so great. What?
No, you said could have been great. I was like, Ghost was
the funny thing.
Ghost.
Well, it's the funny thing. Like even his hits, though, if you look at his Bruce Joel Rubin's hits, you look at them and like even the ones that did well, like Deep Impact. Oh yeah, he also wrote Jacob's Ladder Deep, the original Jacob's Ladder, Deep Impact. This guy is no hack. So for him to make the hacky kind of stuff that comes out of this movie is very bizarre. But I was going to say, like, even
book too. So
yeah, that's right, based on a paperback book called Friend by Diana Henstel, which I wasn't able to look her up, but I'm sure she's a fantastic writer. But the problem
there's an interview with him on the Scream Factory disc. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, he talks about all that in it. He said that like Wes was kind of into it. I guess he even when they made the changes, he said that when the producers told Wes needed to make it more violent, he had a big grin on his face, like he was like okay with it. So that's not the impression that I got from from the IMDb, but then again, it is IMDb. Now, Christy Swanson has
right.
What's weird, yeah, Christy Swanson and the writer both say that Wes Craven, even though he may have been going through something, they said that his demeanor on set was like he was happy.
I'm sure.
Happy, and everything was good. You know, like he was just having a good time with it.
Well, yeah, because Wes Craven was such a professional, and like nobody. I mean, you look at the guy's life and you like read everything about him. Literally, nobody has anything bad to say about Wes Craven.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody's surely's got to be somebody.
I don't think that there may be that one guy who was like, yeah, I knew Wes Craven. He was a prick, but
I'll be the guy if nobody's going to step up for it.
But yeah, like I think he was probably like he was going through some stuff and he just didn't want anybody to know. And I think he knew that as a director, you have to set the emotional tone for the set. And if you're having a bad day on set, everyone's going to be having a bad day on the set because you're the leader. And I think he knew that. So if that's the case, I think he was trying very hard to be like Professor Wesley, like he was, for pretty much everybody. And that's what he did. And, God bless him for it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's good that he was able to keep if he was going through that divorce and it was weighing on him, it's good he was able to keep it kind of zen, calm, and keep everybody having a good time on set.
But yeah, the original intention for this movie was to make a PG rated family kind of robot thriller. I don't know how much they would have eventually made it family-ish because like ultimately when you boil it down to it, it's still a movie about a robot that goes on a rampage and kills people. Even though clearly even the final product, you look at the story as it unfolds and it's pretty clear that there is stuff missing. It's pretty clear that there are huge emotional beats that just aren't there. I mean, I was watching it again, watching it recently and thinking to myself, I'm less interested in seeing this robot kill people than I am in, like, what's this guy, this young kid, how's his relationship with this techno zombie that he created? What's it going to be like? How is he going to, all a million questions were going through my mind. Not even a third of them got answered by this movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, apparently Wes was more interested in originally telling the love story, but between
I would have
the
been
kids,
too.
I guess it's kind of a almost like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing going on.
Although, if you think about it, though, if you try to do that today, everybody would be like, "Ew, gross," and I think you know why. And we'll get into it because of, I mean, what he does. It's very yuck. If you're doing the love story on that, it's very and disturbing.
I'm
in a way.
gonna pull you off on that one. I don't think it'd be disturbing in this day and age because we just got The Shape of Water, and that was a love story between a man and fish. I mean, a man and a woman.
But the fish, wait. But the fish was consensual, number one, and the fish was a god, number two, and the fish is alive.
Remember we went over that Frankenstein created women. It's kind of a similar concept to that, where there's like a robot mind, and this is like the robot almost seems to have a personality in this one. So it's him, the robot mixed with her, kind of two personalities fighting against each other inside of them.
That's how I saw it. Like two personalities fighting for each other.
At the end of the movie, yes. At the end of the movie, that happens. But there's a whole middle act. It's techno zombie all the way. I mean, but we should probably also, since we mentioned it, we should probably also mention this robot because it's something.
Yeah,
it's a real robot that they built. I mean,
it looks kind of cool. It's like an orange, and it kind of talks kind of cute. It goes BB. It's like kind of Gizmo mixed with Short Circuit Johnny Five. You know, it's a little. It's a 5'0" thing with a circular head and little flashlight eyes and some little claw hands, which really plays into Christy Swanson's performance later. Yeah. But there's got two claw hands and that kind of looks like a little bit like Spock or something when she's doing it.
Yeah, a little Spock. Got a little bit of Spock action going on. Live long and prosperous. Yeah, for sure. But it's a thing that runs on treads, so it's not. So it's kind of like a bulkier version of Johnny Five.
Yeah, it's Johnny Five, just a lot bigger. Johnny Five Short Circuit was in 1980, so this is 6 years after that. And,
so they could have came up with a really cool creation 6 years later for this, but it's kind of like
Johnny Five looks pretty good though.
It was built by a teenager, more or less, on his little garage before he got to a real lab at his college.
That's right. This teenager is a genius. He's a genius, right?
Yes. Yeah. He's a genius teenager, and if anybody knows this character's name, please tell me because I completely forgot it.
It's Paul.
I just kept calling Paul. Oh, frick. Really?
Paul.
Oh, my gosh.
What'd you want to call him?
Movie. This is a Hammer movie. His name is Paul. Oh gosh.
Yeah. They probably knew about Frankenstein created women. That's why they're going to name him Paul.
Yeah. I mean, because we just did a podcast. I mean, an episode on our other podcast of Frankenstein created woman. That's what I saw when I rewatched this as well, dude. I literally was thinking, and I never had that thought before because I hadn't seen the movie in probably 2 decades. But I immediately thought about that when I was watching this because in that movie, just like in this movie. I see the parallels between the robot BB and Sam fighting over supremacy of the body, and another one you have the two characters fighting over the woman's body. And I saw that immediately, and I was a little bit more interested after I started to think like that.
It lowers your expectations just a little bit.
Well, when I was a kid, I didn't have many expectations at all. Anyways, at some point when I got older and I started to really look into Wes Craven's films and read books about Wes Craven and the making of his films, this movie, which used to be a little higher on my list, became really, 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 really low on my list to the point that I never went back to rewatch it because there were other better Wes Craven movies.
Oh, for sure. There's at least 3 we can think of off the top of our heads. But none involving killer robots. This is Wes Craven's only killer robot movie that yet still manages to have not 1, not 2, but 3 nightmare sequences that are straight out of Freddy Krueger's playbook. In fact,
you're considering the last scene to be a nightmare by that?
Yeah, yes, I am, and we'll get to it. But freaking,
I was thinking the same thing though.
I always thought about it as the nightmare sequence.
Me too. Yeah,
it's so much better though. It makes the movie so much better if you think about it that way.
Yeah, it does. It does. And we'll get to it. But I think your viewers at home, will come to the same conclusion we will. But so it's like, but before we move on from the robot and his aesthetic and everything, were any of you put off a little bit by the voice? Because I feel like they messed this robot's voice up a little bit. First of all, I feel like if you're building a robot, you should at least give it the ability to speak English, which it doesn't. And not only does it not speak, not only is it not but not only does it not speak English, it speaks in a voice that I cannot imagine a robot saying. It does not have a Cylon type. There's no digitalness to it at all. It sounds like a gremlin. It really.
The voice actor is Charles Fleischer, who did the voice of Roger Rabbit.
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
which blew my mind as well.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I see what you're saying about it not sounding digital. I didn't mind it, but it's kind of Gizmo-y sounding too, a little bit like Gizmo.
It's so weird.
I think part of the reason why this one for me ages so badly is because of the fact that you just hit on, Thomas. It's like he doesn't really talk, and the fact that they use that kind of digitized POV shot of me throughout the film makes it really, really, really dated, especially considering it came out 6 years after Short Circuit, which I saw.
Why is this camera so shitty that it's like digitized?
Yeah,
it's pixel vision. Yeah.
And so like Short Circuit, Johnny Five was the greatest robot ever created when I was growing up in the 80s. I will say that I will go to my grave with it because I have two of them behind me as models.
Johnny Five is awesome, man.
Johnny Five is cool. Yeah. And this one, thankfully, I didn't go to the theater to go see it because I would have been a little bit kind of remiss. I was like, okay.
It's kind of weird. But you know what I was thinking? As far as like the pixel vision, which maybe they should have used more of that because of the whole Jaws thing. I think it probably would have helped maybe a little better.
I know what else.
It's a little more. Now that I'm thinking about it, and the more I researched about it, it is a little more. I know you say you think he would have made a better camera, but even he was a computer whiz kid who can like put circuitry onto a human brain. So that guy's light years ahead of MIT graduates. But anyway, he can't give him proper resolution on his vision. But I think the reasoning was probably because I saw a trailer. Somebody's doing like a re-release for that movie Nadia, which I saw years ago.
Yeah, is that one with David Lynch in it, right?
Yeah, with David Lynch as a cameo. Yeah, and Peter Fonda as Van Helsing. It's a vampire movie.
Yeah.
But like
it's hard to watch. Yeah. There's like way too much of that pixelation shit in there.
Well, they used that. Yeah, what they did was for that movie, they used that for no good reason. But anyway, what they used, they used a toy camera that was available in like the 80s and 90s. I can't remember the name of it, but they had one.
I had one.
Was it the Fisher Price one?
Yes. Yeah. So I thought to myself, maybe that's what he used for BB's eyeballs.
That makes sense. I mean, that makes sense. But this, another thing, I just recently rewatched Westworld, the original one. And Yul Brynner's vision looks like that too. So,
Yul Brynner's vision's even worse. Really, for being honest.
But that was 1973.
And yet Yul Brynner is able to track down James Brolin across the prairie and through the underbelly.
But it's Richard Benjamin is who James Brolin he kills immediately.
Right.
And Richard Benjamin's really the protagonist. But
right. Spoilers for that movie. Which, by the way, we should put that movie on the list too, Kevin, because that movie is kind of a horror movie if you think about it.
Yeah, there's a big stalking scene. Yul Brynner's awesome in that.
You know what? Now that I think about it, that movie should be on our list for no other reason because the influence that movie had on Halloween, Terminator, any slasher that's unrelentingly slow walking towards its victim. It takes it from Westworld. So
but he's got some pretty bad looking vision in that, which is similar to that. But it's probably the toy camera.
I think. I think that a lot of filmmakers, when they're doing something that's supposed to be different, and they want to utilize that POV to give audiences that glimpse into the world of that character, they always come up with something that's really digitized like this. If you remember what they did in Virtuosity or what they did in Lawnmower Man, and you get that because people are
Predator, Predator's later.
Predator's a great example.
Yeah, everyone's always. I've seen people like just talk about how every indie filmmaker has to have the villain or whatever have some kind of weird vision. It can't just be like a regular vision. The monster has to can't see like a regular person.
So and you have to have I don't know why this started like that, but filmmakers want to have the audience actually see what that person or thing is seeing in their way, and it can't be like the way we see it. It has to be something completely different.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in order for you to really to put that together when you're watching it to see that it's some kind of point of view of shot, it has to be somewhat different.
But can you imagine though if Spielberg had made Shark Vision, like if he made some kind of weird cameoing around the circle, around the frame whenever the shark has his POV, or if it was like all red or something.
It would be so much of a better movie, Jaws, man.
Are you kidding me?
You just figured out how to make it good. You figured out how to make it good.
Yeah, we get Shark Vision. Shark's vision just looks like our vision.
Yeah. No, it needs to be red. Like red. I think he sees it red in this too, doesn't he? I might be thinking
I think he only goes red when BB's about to kill.
Yeah. He does go red. But yeah. I mean, I'm glad you figured out how to fix Jaws, though, man. That's fucking awesome.
We see Jaws. We see the shark's POV in all the movies. We just don't see it in like Shark Vision.
Yeah, but how do sharks see? Do you guys know?
I have no idea.
Yeah, because I think dogs only see there's something weird with dogs' vision too, like something about green or something.
See in 2 dimensions.
How do they know?
I don't remember. That's a good question. Oh, they probably do a color test, or a depth.
They probably just ask the dog and have him tell them,
Yeah, because they have all these tests they do on animals. These animals have really bad eyesight. Yeah, because they're I like the only way you can do that is test them on other things. You put 2 things in front of them and they walk into it. Oh shit, that motherfucker has some bad eyesight.
Yeah,
or put like a poster of a cat that's only in like color, like colors he wouldn't be able to see, like in shades, like an orange or something.
Right to him.
That's what it is.
Yeah, so but BB, the thing is, I made a note that we see that I wanted to talk about the whole BB POV thing, because to be honest with you, the first time we see it in the very opening scene is actually kind of cool, because you don't know what BB is, you don't know anything here, so you see his
POV. And that I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm gonna say I think they just show it a little too much, to be honest. But I think I agree. Yeah, they just show it a little too much. That first time is effective when the person is trying to break into the car, and then BB is the one who stops them. The POV is what we see first. That's what we see first of BB. I think that's effective.
Yeah, because it's intriguing, because we don't know what the heck we're watching, because it's a cold open, by the way, that was a reshoot. That was one of the things the studio said to put in to make it look more like a horror movie, and it's got a jump scare that's actually effective, because the guy's trying to break into the car. We have no idea what's going on. All we hear is that little voice. We hear that friggin' gremlin voice, so we think, he's got a troll in the back seat?
Yeah.
and then out comes the robot arm and grabs the guy's neck. And it seems like BB's gonna squeeze his head off like a freaking pimple. Yeah, and then he sees his master, Mr. WizKid Paul, Dr. Paul, or not doctor, but struggling, but trained to be a Dr. Paul. And his mom coming in, and he's like, "Okay, I'll let you go. You won't die today."
Well, it seems like he even says that BB has his own thoughts and he does his own thing, and he does seem to be getting more and more violent, and he's even acts he starts at some points got some kind of like crazy, his eyes turn red, and he says a few crazy things here and there. It's like
but of course he would. Of course he would, because like this kid moves into the worst neighborhood in suburbia. He's got a roving gang of neighborhood toughs that roll around in their Kawasaki's. He's got crazy freaking abusive dad, who is the dad to the like not only is he crazy, he's basically he's like Freddy Krueger 2.0.
Oh, yeah. He's pretty in this movie. Yeah. That's
And then there's Anne Ramsey.
Yeah.
I didn't even talk about Anne Ramsey, who lives across the street. Who's the crazy old lady with a shotgun who's sick to get on his property?
She comes out with a damn shotgun. It's like that's a little like much to come out with a shotgun. It's like damn. And then there's still, someone comes out with a shotgun I don't come back. I don't know, about you guys, but it's like
I wouldn't come back either.
It was a different
so you throw a
time,
basketball over
man.
her fence. I'm like, you know what? I'm good without the basketball. I think it's just going to
I
stay
can
there.
go buy another one.
Yeah.
They ain't that expensive. I'll just go get another one.
Yeah, but I mean, these kids obviously would be expensive for these kids, probably, but at the same time, it's just not worth getting shot with a damn shotgun.
Oh yeah. And also to clarify, ladies and gentlemen, we say kids, but this is one of those movies that I think was more prevalent in the 80s than it was later on, where clearly these parts were written for characters who are much younger. These were supposed to be, in fact, I think in the book clarifies it. These kids are not supposed to be in their late teens, early 20s. These kids are supposed to be like tweens.
Yeah.
They are supposed to be Stranger Things age.
But
They're supposed to be
act like that a little bit. But
yeah,
Well,
they're
yeah,
doing all those things tween kids do. They play in the streets. They go motorbiking. They go trick or treating. I mean, honestly, ladies and gentlemen, how many kids in their late teens, early 20s go trick or treating? Not many kids do.
Well,
Christy Swanson was 15 when she auditioned for it, and she was 16 when they were shooting it. So.
Yowza.
Yeah.
So like but the same thing happened with like Gremlins. Like Billy was supposed to be like a 13-year-old boy in the script, or like obviously the whole lurking at a bank thing was written later.
Yeah, I was about to say he can't work at a bank at 13, boy.
But that's why. But see, that's why Corey Feldman is his friend, because he was a holdover from that first draft of the scripts. It was always weird to Joe Dante, like, why would a 13-year-old boy be best friends with a 22-year-old guy? It's weird, and it's still weird. But that's the reason, because Billy's supposed to be younger. Same thing in this script. This kid is supposed to be like a freshman in high school who's so super brilliant that Paul is going to study at MIT or something in like the brain surgery department. But also he's working. I guess his whole special interest is brains in general, whether they're artificial or wetware, as they call it. That's what they call brains in the software industry. They call it wetware.
Yeah, I mean that's the impression I got from his character in the film. I do think that originally, like you were saying, it was probably for a much younger person, because from my opinion, when Tom, who becomes his friend, the neighborhood paper boy, who's like,
what the hell is a paper boy? It's like weird the times too. He's delivering paper. It's just like always doing it,
and he's always falling off of his bike.
He's falling.
First,
I don't know. Does anybody? You guys? I don't even know if we ever saw a paper boy, but I played the game on Nintendo.
Same.
But did people actually do that? Like, wouldn't you just do it right? Wouldn't you do it at a certain time of the day?
No, it actually
depends. You would do it either in the morning or after school.
Right. Yeah. My dad actually was a paper man. He would do it in his car, and he would fling the paper out of his car because he had a route for the St. Petersburg Times. So I remember him doing that.
Well, I guess because of the way that that particular neighborhood is, and there's so many houses, I guess it could work. But it's like, it's kind of weird, the paperboy thing, and it's especially because of his age, like we're talking about. But
he's much older than he's much older than I was when I did Paperboy. I did it on a military base, so it was much easier for me. I didn't do it in no random suburbia someplace. Yeah. It's much easier for me. But
it's like funny though. Yeah, that's how he's introduced. He just like falls off his bike when he sees BB. He's like, I don't know. It's funny kind of, but it's like it's kind of bizarre just to fall off your bike.
You know what? It's the way he falls off his bike. It seems so calculated. It doesn't seem authentic. I didn't notice that before I rewatched it. He falls off his bike very calculated.
Yeah.
Not
well, you'd have to. You get hurt pretty bad, falling off the bike.
It's more interesting. I wanted to see him fall.
But it had to be safe for the actor. Think about it. You falling off a bike, It's
the 80s. They didn't have
onto the damn like cement, and it's.
Speaking of the 80s, I feel like Mr. Paul the Boy Wonder, like many 80s movies, Paul has a really awesome room. Yeah, because Christy Swanson is the girl next door who's like, "Hey, like you got an awesome robot. Hey, you want to see my awesome room?" He's like, "Okay." So they see his awesome '80s room because every kid had an awesome '80s
Yeah,
room with awesome '80s stuff in it. But
yeah,
his room goes the extra mile.
Yeah.
He has a in his closet. He has a staircase door to the attic, which I think is super awesome. I wish I had one of those growing up.
yeah,
I wish.
yeah, yeah.
It's hard for me to believe that there was ever any house where there's a closet led to the attic instead of just being a hallway, a door in the hallway that left to the attic.
Well, I used to live in a house that had a stairway entrance thing to the attic that was in the laundry room.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really stupid because there was like zero room for you to like open the door to said laundry room and pull the ladder down. It was just stupid.
It was probably a situation where the laundry room was added after the fact. It was probably originally supposed to go into it, and then they're like, "Well, we could put the the washer and dryer here."
I don't know. I think it was a situation where the screenwriter said, "Hey, we got to figure out a way for him to keep his
hider."
To hide his...
I'm talking about your situation where it was in the laundry room.
Yeah,
because this one is in this room. But
yeah,
but yeah, it's cool though. Like you said, it'd be nice to be able to go up into the attic and check for you. I feel like I've seen that. I feel like I've seen that in some other movie too. They probably used the same set.
What they needed to be a secret lab that he has at the house, and then he would truly be Frankenstein.
He would.
Yeah,
he would.
Yeah, he needed a secret lab up there. We got this house so you can have your secret lab up in your, right above your bedroom. That would he
could have put a lab up there.
It would have made. I was going to say it would have made so many other plot contrivances later in the movie a whole lot smoother if they just did that.
It was funny. The technology is funny too, though, because when he first meets Tom, he reaches into BB. I keep wanting to call him BB2 or something, but he reaches into
BB8.
Yeah, BB8. Yeah. But he reaches into BB and he pulls out like his circuit, like his
brain.
It was like it's like a looks like the inside of a computer, like the RAM piece, and he's just like, check it out, here it is,
Yeah,
he's like rips it out, the robot's on and everything. He just like rips it out. And he's like, yeah, here it is, right here.
It's so bizarre how like cavalier he is about this AI life form that he has created. Like, see, I'm God for this thing. I just pull out his brain, and when we find out later that that's really not even his brain. All that circuitry around it was just like fluff. The real brain was the CPU processor right in the middle of it because that's what he uses later.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a little microchip is what they call it, like a microchip.
Yeah. That's everything that is BB is that little bitty microchip. And then, of course, what he gave him is just these big ass wheels with a big ass head to move around with.
I know, it's so weird. I think they're now I'm thinking about it, I think the reason why that it's called BB is because it's yellow and black and white and it's a bee. Let's face it, it's a giant bee.
Yeah. It is very yellow. It's very strikingly yellow.
Strikingly Yellow.
Yeah.
By Calvin Klein. Strikingly Yellow.
Yeah. We'll be able to know that if either one of us actually ever bother to read the book and figure that how it all kind of plays out.
Yeah, none of us did. I'm not even sure. You could probably get the book on a Hoopla. That's about it.
The book is readily available.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's readily available.
Yeah, but it's kind of like we're talking about the dad character. That dad character.
Please.
It's kind of like so like not subtle and it's kind of over the top a little bit.
Yeah,
he just pops in and
a lot of the characters are over the top.
Yeah.
A lot of them are over the top.
He's such a weird acting dude. He just comes in. He's like, this won't happen again. His daughter's over there. He's like, where is she? It's not going to happen again.
Like he is such the stereotypical abusive drunk dad that I think even Stephen King would look at him and go, yeah, that's a bit much.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's like that one scene that ends up being a dream where he shows up in a room and it gets like really like wow, I'm like this is kind of like unexpected to have this scene, but she's like it's really weird the way they have her be such an abuse victim in the film that it's like because he's probably been like raping her, more
Oh
than
yeah, oh
likely.
yeah, oh yeah,
Well,
oh
that's
yeah.
why she locks the door after that whole dream sequence she has. She locks
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
door with a
yeah,
chair. It's like, oh yeah, because she doesn't want him coming in.
And you know what? I feel like
yeah.
that is probably the one dream sequence that was probably originally Wes Craven's thing, because I read online that Wes Craven's original intention and Bruce Joel Rubinstein's their original intention was to kind of make this a tragedy in the vein of
Yeah.
classic Frankenstein, where the grown-ups are the monsters and the grown-ups are the ones who cause the tragedy. So his intention, I'm sure, was from the get-go, was to make these grown-ups as monstrous as possible. Even the mom, apparently, in the original cut, wasn't such a saintly figure. She also
Yeah.
had some darkness to her, apparently, but none of that made it in the final movie. But
There's no
this
darkness
guy,
to her in this. It's
this freaking, this sweaty, AY covered, glistening head, 40s freaking guy is just so disturbingly off. But what's funny about his performance is that it's like in any scene where he's not being creepy, he's being boring. He's doing nothing.
yeah, yeah,
It goes from like 0 to 1,000,000 from one scene to the next. It's such performance whiplash.
yeah.
I
It's
agree with that.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I don't think that I don't like his performance that much. I don't think there's like much. Like you say, it's either nothing or all. There's nothing in the middle. So it just kind of seems off to me.
Well,
Yeah,
that's what aids, in my opinion, that it seems or it feels like a TV made for TV movie, because
Yeah.
that's kind of the aesthetic you would see in those type of movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Very big emotions like that because they have very little time to tell their story. I mean, this kind of
Yeah, that's right. I think so. But my illusion that this was a TV movie went right out the freaking window with that nightmare sequence, because Christy Swanson takes he's trying to feel her up. Oh gosh, I hate that I said this. So trigger warning for all
It's
of this,
just
guys.
a movie, man. It's like they're actors.
It's still
only a
dude,
movie.
it's still gross. But like she grabs. Oh, wait till we talk about Last House on the Left. She grabs a vase, breaks it, and then stabs him in the chest with it. Which at that point I thought, okay, this is a dream. But then they make that statement way too obvious by having him start laughing at her, and his blood just spurts out of the tube of the glass
all over her face.
All over her face.
Like it's almost like it represents something else other than blood.
I didn't even go there, Watkins, but thank you for putting my brain there. Not.
Yeah, you appreciate it. You're welcome.
But like,
man.
apparently on set that tube thing malfunctioned and like sprayed her with much more blood than what ended up in the final movie. And she was
there's a lot of it already.
There is a lot. When they cut to the two shot with both of them, him laughing right above her, you can see her just covered in that blood, dude.
Because if you think about it, the way the boss is sticking out of him, it looks like it could be a little phallic. And then there's like blood or shooting out of it.
Man, why you gotta hang on that, Watkins? Why you gotta hang on the phallic? Why?
I don't know, man.
That's the visual that we are presented with in this movie. The thing is, stuff like this, the gore is very, very limited. We see that blood sequence there, and then of course when he is fried, when his face looks like fried later in another dream sequence.
I will say that was good makeup, though. That was
You're right. He is kind of Freddy Krueger-ish.
Yeah, and he gets fried in a boiler at a little heater.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's very Freddy Krueger-ish. Apparently, like it looks like they found out that he had directed horror movies, and then they wanted to just keep adding more into it.
Which blew my mind when I found that out. That like the producers figured out that they'd hired Wes Craven.
Midway through
production.
I read that on IMDb too. I didn't actually hear that in an interview, but if that's true, that is like what?
How dumb are you to not even know? Like, I mean, it's not like Nightmare on Elm Street was some little indie movie that like it wasn't a cult movie. This movie made like millions and millions of dollars.
It's
It was
probably
the
it's probably bullshit.
it
It's got to
launched New
be.
Line
Yeah.
Cinema. How the heck
Yeah.
did they not know about it?
Well,
Yeah,
well,
how would they know? Because like I said, I've got the collector's edition of this film, and it's got like all these special features on it, and there's no mention of that. But that would
I
be a really weird thing not to know about it,
that
though.
that
not
that would be. But you know
really,
what else
not
is
really.
really?
Keep in mind that Nightmare on Elm Street only came out 2 years before this.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah, yeah.
But
You
also,
know,
I find it really weird, Watkins, that there is a collector's edition DVD, Blu-ray, whatever,
Yeah.
4K of this movie.
But they'll do one of any movie, man. But it is a Blu-ray, and but you don't know. I mean, it's a Wes Craven movie, man. They'll do it. They'll do it of was it Deadly Blessing too? They got
yeah,
a bunch of those, a bunch of different versions of it. So.
yeah. I
Well,
mean,
at least
Arrow
Deadly
did a
Blessing
vision.
was his vision, unlike this movie.
Well,
But
I
if
mean,
you want,
yeah. I mean, like I said, like I used to see this on TV, and I had
yeah.
a pretty big fondness for it. But it's there's a lot worse movies that they've given like the red carpet treatment to, just because they can. That's like a lot of times it's like it. And Shout Factory did the release of this one, but sometimes like Vinegar Syndrome gets a hold of something, they'll like it don't matter how bad it is. Like they're doing Demon Warp right now.
Yeah.
yeah,
Demon Warp, so, which is a lot
yeah.
worse than this movie, but they're doing it 4K, big thick release, a bunch of
Yeah.
booklet and all that with it.
Wow, that's crazy.
No,
Well, I feel like, guys, before we get ourselves lost and forget that this movie's obscure enough that I think some people may not have figured out what the heck we're even talking about. So I feel like what we should do now is like lay the bones of the plot, so
Start
that
from the
we can
beginning.
now, so that
No.
we yeah, so that we can now, so that we can go jumping around and
Yeah,
people will know what the heck we're talking about. And let's be honest, folks. It's not that complicated. It's pretty simple. It's insane, but it's pretty simple. So it's like what actually happens. Like I said, it's insane. But anyway, so Boy Wonder Paul, Dr. Paul, not wannabe Dr. Paul, he's got his robot, and they become friends. They have this little group of Paul, Christy Swanson's character, Paperboy, and BB. They're a nice little, group of people
Quartet.
who are friends. And what?
they're a quartet.
They're a quartet, yes. They're like a quartet. They're almost like the Charlie Brown gang,
yeah.
And then
It's funny. BB's like always there too, man. He's like he's got those wheels. He just can go wherever they go. It's like how.
So I guess
Yeah.
like that would make BB the Charlie Brown character because he's black and yellow and he's abused constantly. So yes, that makes that's Charlie Brown. Yeah, this Peanuts. Wow, I didn't think about that. So anyway, they go through the seasons of life together in this montage. That's where you get the Halloween montage part.
Mhm.
But then a fateful thing happens. One day they're going in and they're trying to get their basketball back from Anne Ramsey's character, and she just kept the basketball because she's mean, because that's just what she does. And they try to get in by using BB's powers of bolt cutters in his clamps to get past.
Real quick, just to point this out. It goes to Halloween. This Halloween and Thanksgiving, something tragic happens on Halloween. What you're about to say, and then the next time it goes forward, it's Thanksgiving, and then something tragic happens again. So they kind of do that.
Tragedy happens on holidays.
Yeah.
So fall
Twice.
just sucked for this guy's life in general. If he ever made it to Christmas, I shudder to imagine what would have happened. But anyway.
Yeah, they definitely should have went to Christmas. I don't know why they didn't, but they did Halloween, Thanksgiving. The next logical step is Christmas, and they dropped the ball on it.
Yeah, and this movie could have covered 3 different holidays.
Did you notice that pun there? Like for the basketball, like drop the ball. Like, Kevin's kind of been dropping the ball in the puns lately. I thought he was going to come through with a bunch of them.
I think I was
No.
laughing in the background when you said it, dude. I'm like, okay.
No, it's okay, Kevin. Dave Watkins got you on the layup. It's fine.
Dude, you guys just wanted to go and explain the plot of the movie, so I'm letting you guys go through and do that.
Okay, so anyway, the tragic thing I'm about to tell you is though.
Well, he's like 26 minutes into it, so he's going pretty fast.
Yes, I'm 26 minutes into this 90-minute movie, but like but what's funny is, and this is like the only part that made me kind of cry and actually emotionally hit me, because this poor robot helps them break in to try to get the basketball, and freaking Anne Ramsey comes out with her shotgun like the freaking Terminator and annihilates this poor robot.
Yeah.
Just blasts him, whatever, destroys BB.
Yeah.
And they're all just crying, especially the guy playing Paul, he's not that great an actor, but my gosh, that one moment when he is crying in anguish over his robot, I feel like that was good. That landed with me.
You know what the best part of that scene is, like, when she knows they're there, and after she blows the robot up, she looks over at him and grins, and then walks inside. It's just like,
oh my gosh,
she's an evil woman.
Yeah.
She's so She's the most awful human being on the face of the earth and cinema.
It's like she knows that she can't shoot them, but you can shoot the robot, because it's like, even though like all this time they've been assuming that shotgun's just some bullshit but then when she blows the robot off, she's like, ha ha, that's the last time you'll be trespassing. It was a little bold to break the lock and come in. But it's also like they kept wanting to do that earlier too. That was like Tom's dream, was to open that bolt lock and go in there and knock on her, hand the paper to her at her door and just like surprise her. But it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I know, yeah.
They just egg her house,
Yeah, this movie would turn out a whole lot different.
I mean, they could have done that over the fence, and they didn't have to worry about going in there.
Yeah.
It's like,
I know. What it should have could have,
and ate the house, and that would have been it.
What it should have could have, man.
We have to have tragedy in this movie.
It's on Halloween, because then they can be dressed up. They can't even see their faces. They go up there with a bunch of eggs and just egg the shit out of it.
Dave, we'll make sure we consult you on our next batch of juvenile delinquency, because you're brilliant at that. So, but like
now you couldn't get away with it because they got cameras.
Yeah,
and they'd follow the cameras everywhere. They go look at the Ring doorbells, and they'd see when you like put on the costume and changed it.
Yeah, for sure. So like that happens, and then we go to Thanksgiving when frickin' the drunken abusive dad.
Well, they're having a very nice Thanksgiving dinner.
They have
it's
a
like
nice
the mom,
Thanksgiving
Paul,
dinner.
and Christy Swanson's character Samantha. They're sitting at the table, and it's like they're a family, and everything's fucking cool. But the dad's next door on the couch, just drinking beer, just like
even acknowledge it is Thanksgiving. He thinks when she gets back over to her house after having a great night with Paul and his family, they have that little nice first kiss, and you think, oh, this is gonna be so great. And then she goes back over there, and she picks up her school books, trying to make it seem as though it's not really Thanksgiving. She just was over there to be studying her books, and her father rails on her because he is punk. And
here's the dialogue for that part. She says, I was studying, I had homework. He's like, you lying little bitch. And then he knocks her down the stairs. He like slaps the shit out of her.
Yeah.
It's like that big. I mean, it's like that fucking big. It's like, that's what kills her. She like hits her head on the wall, and they'll do it. Really.
Well, she's not technically dead. Because it does look very awkward. So like they get her to the hospital, and Paul and everyone finds out that she is brain dead. So she's on life support, but she's brain dead. So they're gonna pull the plug.
Yeah. It's pretty awful, really, though. That's a pretty awful thing to happen, though. To knock her down the stairs and then break her neck or whatever, or whatever that happens there. But it's pretty messed up. And he's sitting in there. He's like, she left her stuff on the stairs and tripped and fell down. I told her not to do it. Yeah.
And up to this point, we have seen Paul do some brain surgery in school. In fact, I love there's this match cut from him scooping out some brains and some cadaver skull to scooping out some jack-o'-lantern guts from a jack-o'-lantern, which I thought was great. But yeah, it should be noted at this point that like I said, she's just brain dead. So he knows about cerebral hemorrhaging, and he says, like, I've thought of things that no one's ever thought of before. And so this is the point where we are 32 minutes into this movie, and things are about to get real weird. Because Paul gets this idea in his head, goes to his friend Sam and says, I got an idea how we could save her, how we could save Sam, Christy Swanson's character. And the guy's like, are you being nuts? Out of your ding mind? Which is clearly an addition from this what would have been a PG-rated movie. But like they go and steal her body from the hospital with the intention of making sure that they're keeping her alive. They have like a portable respirator or something, or a battery for it.
Yeah.
They're going to keep her, but they don't get there in time. They
Well, they have it.
screw up.
Well, yeah. Well, they don't screw up. Actually, they have a plan that involves drugging their mom, and then they
Which,
find out that they've actually changed the time that they're going to pull the plug, and then it gets
yeah,
even quicker after that because the dad's in there going, "What's the point in waiting? Let's just go ahead and pull the plug." And
yeah. I
the
will
doctor's
say,
like, "All right, fuck it," you know.
yeah, I will say that's one good thing. That's one clever thing the script does do at this point is that it rightly assumes that this plan would go horribly wrong, and
Yeah.
that these teenage boys who think they're so smart and know how to do everything would screw it up somehow. They would not account for something.
Yeah, well, it goes better than you would expect it to, really, but it still doesn't go very good. But just the fact that, just the fact they were able to reanimate her later on, it's actually that's some pretty cool. That's some pretty cool technology he's come up with.
Yeah,
the idea is that Paul was hoping to incorporate the chip on a live person to keep her to kind of kickstart her brain again because it's brain dead. But
that's the core of this movie.
That's what he's hoping to do. But
it's this brilliant. It's this really brilliant and disturbing idea of. I mean, it doesn't really. It's not particularly visually interesting in this movie. He literally just sticks the chip in the brain. That's all he does.
He plugs it in. He finds the place to plug it in. He plugs it in.
Yeah, that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. You don't need to think of anything else. That's all you need to do. But anyway, it does open up this very interesting aspect of AI that we still haven't quite even explored, which is this idea of what if you are able to reroute the brain damaged area as part of the brain and put in a chip, a cyborg interface that could go around that part of your brain. Like, can you imagine if they could figure that out? You would cure Alzheimer's because you just put a thing around, traumatic brain injuries. You could just bypass all of that. Yeah. Or heck, even people who are paralyzed, just put a chip in the brain, and you could bypass it to the vagus nerve, and bam, you can walk again. There's also I'm sure that's a huge part of cybernetics now, is this idea of figuring out ways to combine software with wetware. But this goes even one step further. This goes to the point where it asks the question, how would an AI intelligence, or just an AI, that's redundant for me to say that, just an AI, an artificial intelligence, a sophisticated AI, let's put it that way. How would a sophisticated AI function if its interface with the real world was not a clawed-handed robot body, but a human body made of flesh? The only other time I could think of where they do anything like that is this Disney movie called Daryl with Kid from Neverending. With Kid from Neverending Story. But with that movie, his entire brain is a computer. He has no previous life.
Of that, by the way, Daryl. They've got a Vinegar Syndrome Ultra release.
Oh, good. Really? Yeah. Oh, thank God! I've been waiting for that movie forever, dude. I love that movie.
So basically, if you want to see what the R-rated, gooey, disgusting version of Daryl is, it's this movie. So yeah, this is what this is about. But the problem, of course, is we were kind of alluding to, is that what happens, what transpires after this is essentially just a 50s killer robot on the loose getting revenge thing. It's not. It doesn't really hunker down to the science fiction aspect of it, which is what the genre is good at, is taking those ideas and moral dilemmas, asking does Paul have the right to do this with her body? The answer, of course, is no. Yeah. But it also kind of does the thing that RoboCop kind of does, which is ask the question of the soul, because Murphy's soul kind of exists beyond his death in the body of RoboCop, and you could do the same kind of thing with this movie. Although I think they don't even touch upon that until late in the movie. It's way too late to really flesh that out. By the time they do get into it. So, but there's bones here, pun intended, of something that could have been good. And maybe it's that way in the book, but they just don't quite get there.
Mm.
Well, like I said earlier, that the Robo slasher part was definitely why I liked it when I was younger. But it's because I did like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, and I was thinking this was just a slasher movie. I was kind of in my mind ignoring all the more sophisticated stuff in the film,
Yeah, I
and it
mean
just
See that?
back then this was like cuckoo banana science fiction. It's
yeah
still kind of cuckoo banana sci-fi, but now we're at the point now where technology has grown and advanced in so short a period of time that
yeah
I don't think we can rule out this kind of thing happening anymore, which is
no
kind of
yeah.
crazy.
I don't mean you can't just plug the damn chip into someone's brain, but yeah, I mean it's
No, no, no.
Well,
In the
yeah, I
words
mean
in the words of Boromir from Lord of the Rings, one does not simply stick a microchip in one's brain and become instant cyborg. One does not
yeah.
simply.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to explore here past the revenge thing, which it becomes a revenge
Yeah,
thriller, kind of like even the other movie did, the Frankenstein created a
yeah.
woman movie. It becomes like a slasher, revenge slasher, the same thing. It's the
Yeah,
same
I mean,
like
honestly,
structure.
now that I think about it, it just occurred to me here, like that. If you do want to see, ladies and gentlemen, if you do want to see a more thoughtful treatment of the same idea, I suppose the closest thing you're going to get, aside from Daryl, is that there's this episode of Black Mirror. I can't remember the name of it, but it was in like the second season, if it's either the first or second season. I can't remember. Before Netflix bought it, where it was with Haley Atwell from Captain America, Peggy Carter. And she is married to, I think, Arthur Darvill or somebody, another British actor like that. And he goes for a drive and his character dies. And this company reconstructs this robot body, but his consciousness is literally an amalgamation of all of his social media presences, his emails, like every single bit of his digital footprint all together creates his personality. So that story, I think, kind of goes way deeper into how weird and complicated it would be if you really did kind of use AI and cybernetics to basically bring back someone from the dead. Which in this movie, he really doesn't just bring back one person back from the dead. He kind of tries to bring back two people from the dead. He's trying to bring back BB, which he kind of does.
Yeah.
And he's trying to bring back Sam, Christy Swanson, which he doesn't quite do until the very, very, very end of the movie.
Yeah, when it's too late, he doesn't realize it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, just he thinks he knows what he's doing because the original ideal, and I like this aspect of the movie, is that he was hoping to have done his experiment on her when she was still alive and conscious, but he readily tells Tom, who's helping him reluctantly in his quest, that he doesn't know what's going to happen. He's like he's making it up as he goes along, and you can you can see the frustration on his face when he's trying to figure out what she is doing every time she disappears or doesn't respond. Because I don't think like the first time he recognized when BB didn't respond was when they were at Elvira's house, and he was BB just wasn't responding to him. Like before that, I don't think he ever contemplated that his creation had gotten a mind of its own so much that it was going beyond him.
He does have a remote control. It's only used I think twice, but he tries to stop BB with a remote
Yes,
at that point before he gets destroyed.
And
Yeah,
BB
that's
turns
where
himself back on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it does.
And even when he does the exact same thing with Sam, where he turns her off and she turns herself back on again.
Yeah, that's where it gets a little disturbing to me. Is like he's keeping Sam BB first in the shed.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his techno zombie in the shed, and then his mother almost discovers her. So then he puts her in the attic, and so then it's like now he's got his own like personal. I'm not going to say it, but like you know what I mean. But he could just turn her on and off whenever he wants.
Yeah,
That's a little odd. That's a little
he's not.
icky,
Yeah,
don't you think?
yeah. Well, I mean, he's not really going there. I think she does have dead flesh, but
Actually, that's what you pointed that out because like in the book, apparently she does go full techno zombie. Her flesh does like get flies, and she does start to like rot by the end of the book. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's that. I mean, and also he doesn't seem like. I mean, the movie doesn't go there. It's a possibility, but it is more
I'm
of a.
glad. I'm
It's more,
glad,
yeah,
but it's
yeah. I don't think
still
there was ever any intention of it,
yeah.
even though I would like to have said that to get your reaction about it. But
My reaction is I'm glad they didn't go there, but at
yeah,
the same time, I kept thinking to myself, in the real world,
yeah, yeah,
that's kind of where it would go. Especially like we were talking off air about this earlier. Like I just saw Companion,
yeah.
and again, if you want to see a more realistic portrayal of where this would probably go, probably see that movie too because it's great.
Yeah.
Um,
But that again, that's like an Android. It's still somewhat clean. When you're messing with this, it's going to be it could be pretty bad. Though I did see an article today about a guy who saw a dead deer on the side of the road and he was like having sex with it when he got
oh,
caught.
are
Yeah.
you kidding
Yeah,
me?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw that article. I didn't read it. I saw the title pop up and I was like, "Holy shit, people are just they're crazy, man." So
People are
people,
nuts.
Okay.
somebody would do this. It'd be better than screwing a dead deer, I would think.
I never
But
thought we were. I never thought this podcast would go from like artificial intelligence to dead deer necrophilia. But here you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we've ended up.
Well, we just need someone to make it into a movie.
yeah, no,
If we
let's
can
not do it.
nec-
It's
yeah,
not.
if they can do Necromantic 1 and 2 and Silo 120 Days of whatever Silo, I can't remember the whole title.
But that so all right. So the guy's having sex with the dead deer. Maybe that deer has some kind of contagious virus that starts some kind of like outbreak. Yeah,
I'm not even gonna.
that's the first scene of the movie. It's the first scene of the movie. It just starts with a guy humping the deer. It's like a close up. You don't know what he's screwing at first. You know, he's like,
God.
and you're like, okay, he's raping some girl, and then it cuts to it.
Oh,
And he's got like
no.
a dead deer there. It cuts to a close up of the
Wow.
deer's face, and then the cop comes up.
I'm not sure who else would have sex with a guy who had sex with a dead deer. That I think that would be a case.
What can you? But they don't. People don't know, unless they know. I mean, this guy could go and pay for a prostitute, and they wouldn't know that he had sex with a dead deer.
I mean,
All
he
right,
might
Dave.
smell, but yeah.
Well, he just had to shower a little bit. It'd be all right.
I don't think a guy who's having that with a dead deer showers very often.
Yeah, you're probably right. But yeah, I
as,
don't know.
as
He probably
a-
doesn't have the money to pay for a prostitute either. On top of that, so.
I
Dave,
can't,
you go make that
can't,
movie, and I
guys.
will not watch it.
I can't.
Yeah, I'm not making it. I'm just telling you. That's why I'm telling you guys. If I was going to make it, I wouldn't be telling anybody. You know, I'm letting you guys hear it, and you guys could go make the movie.
It's okay. You know what, Dave? It's okay. Everything you say on this podcast is copyright 2020, Broken Lighthouse Pictures Productions. Nobody can steal it because it's copyright already.
Well,
So
the thing
you're
is,
good.
it's what is based on a news article, something that really happened, so anybody could do it.
Anybody can do it.
Yeah,
As long as you change the animal, I guess, and the circumstances of it, you're good. You're
Instead of
fine.
being
No
a
one's
deer,
gonna.
instead of being a deer, it's a squirrel.
no, it's got to be bigger. It's got to be a
It'd be
moose.
funnier if it was a squirrel.
It's gonna be a moose. It could take place in.
Oh,
It
come
takes
on.
place like
Come
in
on,
a kind
dude.
of winter place. Could be like Dead Snow 4.
All right, we got off track here with these necro.
So she's.
We're
Wait,
all like into
yeah.
some disgusting stuff,
All right,
so I think
yeah,
we
yeah.
should use that to transition to talk about the only really good scene in this movie that everyone remembers, the memeable moment, which is when BB/Sam kills Am Ramsey with a basketball to the
Right.
head.
Yeah.
So
yes.
it's funny. I the only thing I ever really associate Anne Ramsey with is this movie and Throw Mama from the Train.
I love that movie.
I'm sure she's done other stuff,
The Goonies, though.
huh?
Goonies.
She was in Goonies,
Yeah.
right? And she had a small
Yeah.
part in Scrooged.
Yeah.
But you know what? I still just think of these two movies. I like.
Throw Mama from the Train's great, but they've actually got a new 4K of that coming out. But that's from Kino Lorber. But you got to remember from Goonies though, she's a big part in that.
She is,
Yeah.
but to be honest with you, I haven't watched Goonies since I was a kid, dude. I liked Goonies as a kid, but I had
Yeah.
not seen Goonies since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like,
With-
I've seen this one. If this movie had not been directed by Wes Craven, I probably wouldn't have watched it within the last 10 years or so.
I think you're right. I think that's, Kevin, I think that's probably why most people nowadays have watched this movie at all. It's because they're Wes Craven completists like we are.
Yeah, because I own the movie because it's Wes Craven, but the thing is, would I own it if it wasn't Wes Craven? No, I would
Probably not.
No.
Would you own Music of the Heart if it wasn't Wes Craven? Probably
No.
not.
Well, yes, I actually like that movie. That movie's good. Do I rewatch it? No. No, I don't rewatch it. It's a good movie, but when I want to watch a Wes Craven movie, I want to watch a Wes Craven movie. Shit. Wes Craven has done plenty of great movies that I love to rewatch over and over again. I watched Shocker before I watch a lot of the ones we discussed so far. So,
Yeah, I've never seen Shocker all the way through. I saw pieces of it when I was a kid, and I cannot wait to see how bad it really is.
It's not bad. That movie's awesome.
I don't know. It's not that good.
The music looks amazing. The music looks good.
I got a new copy of it recently, but in 4K. But it's I always have an issue with the ending of that one, like that part when he starts going through the TV and all that. It's like, it goes a little too far for me.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. But yeah, so speaking of weird, so this death, kill in this movie we're talking about tonight, called Deadly Friend. I think actually, as bizarre and over the top and ultimately stupid looking as it is, because of some special effects issues that somehow they kept in the movie. Like you could have easily fixed it with a simple edit, but they didn't because Wes did not care at this point, I think. But because this is a reshoot, obviously. This is one of those studio notes, the studio mandates, make it gorier. And Wes was like, is this enough for you? And he basically, I'll say, he does do a good lead up to it. There is some suspense to it. Like Anne Ramsey's looking out the window and you hear the whatever's playing on the TV, this very strange kind of, I think it's a movie. Yeah, it feels odd. It feels dreamy, but it's real. It's real. But
you're wondering why she's watching that. Her character's watching that on the TV. It's like,
yeah,
kind of odd.
It's very strange. And then it goes to her hearing something, and then here comes the basketball bounce. That's a very heavy bounce.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
It is nice the way the basketball was established earlier in the film. That's it's pretty well done, the whole part.
Yeah. And then out comes Christy Swanson, which, by the way, the extent of her transformation is just some really heavy raccoon makeup around her eyes and some pale. That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And her hand is like, yeah. And does her Anne Ramsey thing, and then zoom, she just throws the basketball, and her Anne Ramsey's head just explodes.
Yeah, it's cool though. It's cool.
The head exploding is cool. The body wiggling around looks so fake. It's ridiculous.
It's so bad. Yeah,
but there's so there's an interview with the special effects guy on the disc. He says he only did 2 effects. He did that one in the last scene, but he said the way they were able to accomplish that, they actually had a smaller person in the body. Like the legs are real, and the top part isn't.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah. It doesn't look anything like Anne Ramsey. It's suddenly a lot skinnier.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to see them do that kind of effect, right, you got to watch Reanimator.
Yeah. I mean, it's even though it's really cheesy looking, I think it's still effective though. It's definitely the part that I think everybody remembers is that head exploding. And it's it's funny too, it cuts from the basketball going and you can tell her face is fake right before it hits, but it's really brief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's and then I looked, the first time I saw that, I was like, there is no way that a basketball, no matter how hard you throw it, would do that. Because the basketball itself would just break on impact.
Yeah.
I don't think it would even have as much force to. I mean, to be fair, I almost think to myself, if only the Mythbusters were still doing what they're doing. I would have liked to have seen Mythbusters try to debunk this.
Yeah. But that's, so they had the head, the fake body there, the fake head, and they filled it with like pig guts or it was really animal intestines and stuff in there, and they threw the basketball, and that was the effect that they got.
It must have smelled real bad.
Yeah, that's what they said. Apparently all the pieces went all over the room, and it was really hard to find all of them. And later in the day, I guess they were shooting other stuff, and they kept smelling it. It was pretty
Yeah.
rough. Yeah.
And apparently Christy Swanson, poor Christy, had to keep throwing that thing harder and harder. And apparently, like, she hurt her arm doing it because it was so hard to keep throwing it.
Really?
And she was just like, so it was like her second movie, and it was her first like big role, and she was really like worried about not impressing Wes, which is, he's one of the nicest guys in the world. Like she was like just like really sad, really like anxious that she would suck. So she was really overachieving in some of the stuff.
That's fine. She'll make up for it a few years later when she stakes a claim to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so it's all good.
Yeah, another movie that didn't do very well. That's the first time.
Yeah, she was good as the original Buffy, but
She was.
I was like, I didn't watch I really liked it. Like when I didn't watch the show forever because she wasn't in it, but when I did finally watch the show, I was like, damn, this thing's awesome. What the hell was I missing with this thing? But it was yeah, but it was like, but it's weird the way she was really good she was pretty good in this, and she was good in Flowers in the Attic, and then
she's done a lot of
Buffy with Higher Learning, but it doesn't, but not that much high profile stuff after that. It's kind of like she's done a lot of stuff, but nothing that's high profile like these other ones were.
Mm-hmm.
It's odd that she slipped off the map like that a little bit.
No, I think because a lot of those films didn't do very well.
Yeah,
I can't for the life of me tell you how well Flowers in the Attic did. I remember when it came out, but
it didn't do very well, from what I understand. But cult classic.
Yeah.
So,
and it's enough of a cult classic that they readapted the book.
Yeah.
And I heard somewhere that they're going to try and do it again, which I don't know how that's going to work this time.
Flowers it's like the same attic, man. She gets put in the attic in this one too.
That's right.
Yeah.
She's always getting thrown in an attic.
Someone get thrown in the attic?
They have her in the damn attic, man. That's where that lab should have been, in the attic, though.
Well, yeah, you're right. Like I said, that's where the lab should have been. His Frankenstein lab should have been up in there.
Yeah. And I feel like this movie also does kind of the Hammer hurry up, because on our sister podcast, we do conversations in Hammer Horrors, Studio Horrors. And we've noted that several times in those movies, there comes a point where they're like, oh crap, we better end this movie, and the tension and the suspense and the pacing just cranks up to 11.
Yep.
And I can pinpoint the precise moment that happens in this movie. It happens when Bicycle Boy basically turns on Paul and says, I can't handle this anymore. I can't handle the guilt. I gotta tell somebody. And Paul's like gets into a fist fight with him.
Yeah.
and he's like, it's almost They Live style, this fist fight. And he gets a bloody nose. And then he still gets out the door and he shouts like, I'm gonna tell everybody. And then boom.
Yeah.
out from the attic window. Zoom, like freaking Supergirl comes BB/Sam and just flies down basically and tries to murder Bicycle Boy with a strangle.
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand in movies though when people have that moment when they're like decide they're going to go tell the cops when they have to say it out loud. I mean, what if they just left and went and told the cops instead of saying what they're going to do?
You're right. And you know what else? Else I was thinking? I was thinking something similar to that when I was watching the scene. I was thinking to myself, wait a minute. Paul, why are you overreacting? All you have to do to stop him is just look him straight in the eye and say, Bicycle Boy, whose name I can't remember right now, but I know you're my best friend. I can't remember his name. But anyway, look, dude. What are you going to go? You're going to go to the cops? Okay, go. What are you going to tell him? What are you going to tell him? That I raised a dead girlfriend back to life with a microchip, and now I'm keeping her robot zombie body in my attic, and that's what killed the creepy old lady next door? That's what you're going to tell them? They're not going to believe you. Nobody would believe you.
Yeah. Well,
Logic doesn't really apply very much. And of course, when Sam crashes through the window and Paul's mother sees her, it just gets a little bit crazier after that. Because everybody ends up seeing her because she
And
does make it very hard for people to believe that she's now back from the dead. So,
and she runs around.
The cops like show up, you know.
The cops show up. She runs around like Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But wait, we got to deal with the neighborhood toughs. So we got to have her fight the neighborhood tough. Which, by the way, is real quick before we
the biker
before we run out of steam in here. I love that little bit where she takes the Kawasaki biker, beats him. He's like, "Hey, girl, how you doing? Like, I don't even know that you were actually dead, but you look good." And she beats the crap out of him and picks him up by his cojones.
Throws him. It's awesome, though. Yeah,
that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
In fact, it's so awesome. I feel like Arnold Schwarzenegger could have really done a number on a nice little line for that kill, which, by the way, I'm not sure. That guy is super weak to die just by getting slammed against the cop windshield.
Well, we didn't need to see him come back and try and fight some more.
Yeah. Actually, I'm looking at my notes here, and our Schwarzenegger alternator, I never actually figured out a good one for the tough, but I did think of two for the abusive dad kill and for the Elvira Ann Ramsey kill. Okay. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, what we'd like to do here at Conversations in Horror when I'm on is to think about how the kill lines or the quips for when a hero destroys a monster. In this case, the monster destroys a neighborhood tough or an abusive dad. What Arnold Schwarzenegger in his Commando era, which this movie was right in the middle of, would have said. So here we go. Here's the one for when BB/Sam kills the abusive dad. Gotta get my voice working. Number 1. You always were a hot head.
Okay.
Number 2 for Ann Ramsey. She's got the basketball in hand. Think fast. Throws the basketball, blows her head up, and then says, "No, I guess you can't. Now." Think fast.
Oh,
yeah, because she has no head. Because she has no head. Right. And I guess for the tough, I could think of one off the cuff, maybe like, now that I've been dead, I realize you have to grab life by the balls.
That was better.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I feel like, the basketball hit. That basketball hit could. I can't think of a pun off the top of my head, but Kevin probably could have came up with something. But
I mean, think fast is some version of that. Would have to be because think fast, boom.
Something some basketball pun. I don't know. But
I mean, really, I do think she should have been more talkative, or at least make some BB sounds. Because by the time she does talk, she just says a couple of things. She dies saying his name, and then boom, suicide by cops, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, she does say BB at one point.
Yeah, but BB. With her own voice.
Yeah, she goes BB, and then walks around. That's when the cops show up, and then she does see red. It shows her point of view red. The cops get there. And then there's a chase, and then the cops are not. Chases. Yeah, I mean, it goes on for a little while with the cops. Once the cops get there, it's like, damn, the cops are there.
It becomes less interesting because the cops are doing so much chasing and showing up, and it's not just one cop. At some point, they trap her several times. They trap her when she has her altercation with the biker. Then they trap her again at the house. It was one of those things where, okay, it would have been fine to just trap her the one time in the final moment of the film, and that's when
and then obviously, like, I guess they felt like they had to kill her. She charges at the cops, which they weren't going to kill her. I mean, it would have been really interesting to see what would have happened had she not been killed, and what would have come from that. Because
that would have been a good science fiction movie.
But they really wanted the tragedy. I think even the original book was all about the tragedy of.
Oh, the book is even worse. Yeah. The book is even worse because the book, apparently she takes a swan dive off of a bridge into a river,
Sounds like
And
Frankenstein created women to me, actually. Now you
yeah,
mention that.
oh gosh, we keep coming back to that freaking movie. You're
Yeah,
right.
that's what
But
she
but but
does.
but it goes even worse. It goes
Yeah.
even worse because apparently the whole point, the message behind this movie is, and in the book apparently, is basically don't have really deep friendships because they only lead to tears. Because I mean, like what happens, and maybe okay, maybe really it's more like this movie is about knowing when to let go.
Well,
You
it's
know?
yeah. I mean,
A
it's
little bit,
tough.
yeah.
Yeah,
I,
it's tough though to have a relationship in this type of situation when you're dealing with somebody, an abuse victim, and how that's. I mean, they're messed up, and they're never not going to be messed up, especially as a kid. So it's hard to befriend certain people like that because
Yeah.
they've got a lot of work to do to get over that trauma,
Well, in
especially at
fact,
that young of an age.
yeah, and
yeah.
Paul makes for an interesting character because he's college student, although he's still a teenager in
He's Doogie
theory.
Howser.
He's like Doogie Howser.
Yeah.
Good point,
He's
Doogie
got,
Howser. And
yeah.
he's this girl, the girl next door, the girl that everyone wants. Kind of that whole kind of
But
Dawson's Creek type of
was
love
it like
relationship.
Tom says she has nice tits or something like that?
Yes,
And the
Tom says
first
he has
time,
nice tits.
yeah, he's like he
Oh,
says
And
nice
not,
tits, and it's
yeah,
like the other guy's like, yeah, I guess, and she doesn't. They're okay. But I don't know. That's not what I would necessarily be focusing on. I would, but
but
yeah,
in the
weird.
80s,
yeah.
this is not
She
the
has a big
character that was
sweater on all the
focusing.
time. Almost every time you see her, she has a sweater on. You can't even see him.
Yeah, a sweater,
Yeah,
or she's wearing a big. Yeah, she's wearing big outfits. Yeah.
yeah.
So, even when they're playing the basketball, she's wearing like that button up sweater shirt. But the thing is that right after they kiss, and on the night of Thanksgiving,
Oh, yeah,
she goes
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
into a coma. So everything that he could have been this closeted geek up until the point he met her, and the love of his life, the tragedy part is that she gets killed or gets put in the coma, and is due to his or her abusive father, and he knows that. They all know that.
Yeah.
Because they know he's lying when he said, "Oh, she just tripped over some books and fell down and hurt herself."
Yeah.
He feels, yeah, like it's a tragedy from that moment on because he wants to do whatever he can to bring her back, and it exacerbates that even more when he can't get there in time, and she it dies because the plug gets pulled early, and so he's so desperate to find the solution that he can't see clearly, which is why he like fails to see the signs that something's wrong. I don't think he ever, until the very, very end, really thinks that it's BB in that brain. I think he's just seeing like an ideal that there is nothing there right now. He doesn't know how to control it, but we as an audience are seeing the persona of BB in her.
I think, yeah, and there's a bigger problem too with his character in that, and I think maybe this is an idea worth pursuing for any drama. And it's an idea that is worth examining in this day and age, especially, which is this idea that you have Paul, who is a teenager, an older teenager, but he is a teenager with teenage hormones and teenage emotional immaturity. And I think what this movie is trying to say, without really meaning to probably, is that emotional immaturity combined with genius level IQ is a volatile and deadly combination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if history has taught us anything in the past couple decades, that is true time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, he's trying to find a solution. Like he sees some of the danger when he has to cover up the death of her father. He keeps her in that house. The house after her father, after she kills her father, locks her up and thinks that he could just lock her away until he figures out the solution, until she escapes again.
Yeah.
She escapes again to go kill Elvira across the street.
Yeah.
He sucks at locking her up,
But he thinks he could just turn her off, and that will solve his problems too. He thinks he can lock her up or turn her off, like he can just control his
Yeah.
creation.
She's
But
pretty strong on top of that, though. She actually can bust through a door that he doesn't know she can do.
Yeah, yeah.
She's got superhuman strength.
She's
So
got superhuman strength.
you can't really lock her up unless he had like a jail cell or something. But she
Yeah,
might
but
even
he
be able to
doesn't
break
know
that.
that. He's
Yeah.
immature in these respects. He's more or less a scientist, doctor. He thinks analytically, and what he's coming into is something that's not something he can easily figure out.
Yeah. Well, he's also a kid who has to deal with like kid things like going to bed and like having to go to school and stuff. So it's not like, it's
Yeah.
To bring up another good point, because he's been skipping his job at the school and not telling anyone, so that when his mother talks to his professor and his professor says, "Oh, I haven't seen him in several days. I thought he was sick." Oh, he's disappointed, both his professor and his mother, when his mother gets home to confront him. And of course, that just happens to be when
it's the hammer hurry up part right there.
Yeah, the Tom tries to, Tom is acting like a kid. He's like, I don't know what the fuck to do, man. I've got to tell the cops I can't live with myself. Oh shit, she's killed people. Even though I don't know she's killed people, I just have this assumption that she's killed people. So I'm gonna go to the cops because I feel guilty. And he's rushing out, and then the mother comes outside just to see what's her face coming through the window. It's a shame that we don't get some more words from the mother after this point, really, in regard to her son. Because that would have added another layer to their relationship. She becomes like this side character after the first act in this movie, which is kind of sad. She becomes
you know what, guys? You know what they should do? Ladies and gentlemen out there, Hollywood producers and screenwriters out there who are clearly listening to this podcast, maybe in the future a little bit, guys, remake this movie, readapt the book. There's plenty of good material in here that you could make a good show out of this, or a good movie. Something. There's plenty of layers to explore. Yeah. Remake Deadly Friend. My goodness, they're remaking all other Wes Craven's movies. Why not this one? We've got the remake. We've got Last House on the Left remake, Hills Have Eyes remake, Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Let's forget about that one. They haven't remade Serpent in the Rainbow yet, although they probably could and get away with it.
Well, that's because it doesn't follow the book it's based on.
Well, neither does this movie, Kevin.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know if it's a necessary remake. I don't know. I think it would fail
as a television show.
Yeah, maybe.
They could do this as a television show because it takes place over a long period of time.
Yes,
and you could definitely do this one over. And you could build up the whole robotics and AI world and all that type of stuff, and really delve deep into the Elvira character and having natural progression of the abuse that the Sam character goes through instead of what we get here. I think you could. Whether or not it goes past like a single season is anyone's guess. Unless you want to go past that, like the end of this movie would be, you could. I just won't say you should.
Speaking of which, let's talk about the end of this movie, because yowza. This is one of the most bizarre, tacked on, randomly weird endings to a movie I've ever seen, and that's saying something. So it apparently, from what I understand, what I read, this ending was also a reshoot, and apparently it was written, quote unquote, by a studio executive who clearly did not even see the rest of this movie. And he said, wouldn't it be cool if, and said it, and somebody, probably not Bruce Rubenstein, wrote a scene, and Wes Craven dutifully shot it because it's in his contract. And basically what it is, folks, is there's two doctors examining Sam's body, and they say, well, this is going to be an examination for the ages, which, yes, it would. You get to autopsy the first cyborg human. Good on you, doctors. They're putting her in the cooler, and sure enough, Paul has learned absolutely nothing from his venture, which, I buy that part. What I don't buy is what happens next. He goes in, breaks into the morgue, pulls her cold, dead corpse out, and says something to her. I can't even remember what he says, and pulls back the thing, and then all of a sudden, her two hands come up and grab him, and he's trying to pull the hands off, and the skin comes off, and there's robot skeleton, endoskeleton, Terminator style machinery underneath the arms, and then her head comes up, her real robot quote unquote head, which looks like a cartoon version of like a bee/tiger robot with flashing red eyes, like peels back her face skin and starts telling him, "Join me, Paul, join me." And then we cut out, he screams, we cut outside, and you hear his neck snap, and that's it.
It looks like a longer. The robot's face looks like a BB, but longer. Like, instead of like BB's really round, and that one's more like a human type of face. But
it
makes zero sense whatsoever.
I can't think of anything that makes sense about it. I can think of a lot of things that don't.
The only thing that would make it make any sense, and this is what I thought they were going to do.
Yeah.
The only thing that would make it make any sense is if, as soon as we pull out from the lab, all of a sudden, Paul juts up out of bed having a horrible nightmare.
Yeah,
and that's how the movie ends.
I feel like when you do scripts, you do rule of three. Like you said, there's already two dream sequences, and this is the third one. But yeah, he doesn't wake up. But I mean, I'm going to say it's a dream because that's just what I believe. Because otherwise,
agree.
It's just stupid.
I agree. It's a dream, and Wes Craven, it's a dream, and I think Wes Craven may have been being a little arty here. Maybe this is part of his art school kind of hippie mind coming into play. Maybe he didn't make it obviously a dream by trying to say the nightmare never ends.
Yeah,
it's not. You have to think of it. You don't know if it's really a 100% dream, because the odd part is that you're seeing his professor and you're seeing the morgue attendant having a conversation about the body, her body, and that the autopsy is going to be the next day, and whether or not the professor is going to be there for that autopsy.
Well, I'm going to throw something out real quick. Now, he did this. He's the one that brought her back to life. The police would be questioning him all night. Yeah. He would not be out of jail to be able to sneak into the morgue to do this.
You're right. He is an accessory to at least 3 murders. Yeah. He is not going anywhere near that corpse.
So
this would be the first. This would be the first. This would be the first restraining order on a corpse.
Well, you have to. It depends on how you look at it, because he is a minor, so they're not gonna take him to jail.
Wait, what are you kidding? No. Even if you're a minor, if the charge is murder, you are tried as an adult.
Yeah, but you're talking in less than a day, and these cops don't seem to be they're wanting to protect Paul, not put him in the same position as her. And they don't know all the details yet. They won't simply arrest him.
They would take them in for questioning, though. Yeah, they would have him and Tom.
But if it's after hours, they will probably not. They will wait until the next day because he's a minor. It's not the same thing.
And also, Kevin, you kind of made me think. You're kind of right about something. I mean, let's not forget, this is the '80s, and he is a rich white kid, so they're probably going to give him preferential treatment because rich white kid. So
think about it. His mother is there, and his professor is probably talking really high because they don't know what's going on. No one's told them anything. They don't know why she came back to life. They don't know shit.
Yeah, but Tom was ready to sing. I kind of find it hard to believe that he wouldn't.
Oh no, Tom ready to sing, but Tom just got his ass handed to him by the crazy chick. He ran home. That dude ran home screaming, he's probably sitting in the bed pissing his pants. No, but the thing is, I've always thought of it as a dream sequence, but that also means that scene with the morgue attendant and his professor talking about the body makes no sense, because you don't think that Paul having a dream is going to think about what they're thinking about. So that makes it a little bit odd.
Why
No,
wouldn't he? Yeah.
Kevin. He's a genius. He's worked with these guys before.
He's only
He can,
worked with the
he,
professor.
but
And I
he
don't even
can
think he's
have
actually worked with the professor.
Paul, Kevin. They're projections of his unconscious. They're not supposed to make sense. Didn't
Yeah.
you see Inception? You know how that works.
No, AI has taken over the human persona, and that's what you have here, an evolution of the robotic personality, the AI taking over human form, and that's why he doesn't wake up from the dream, because it's not a dream, it's an evolutionary scale evolution thing.
Wait a minute. I just realized something. This is a Wes Craven movie we're talking about. This is a Wes Craven movie we're talking about. This is a nightmare. And he does die. And if we know anything from the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, Kevin, we know that if you die in your dreams, you're dead for real. So now that means that Bibi is now a new Freddy Krueger. She is going to go into the dream world and kill random people.
Yeah. Well, there is this question though that when she gets shot, is that going to kill her? You know, I mean, you would think, okay, like why would it kill her? That she got shot and just chips making her stay alive.
That's another question. Like, where did she get shot?
Question.
Yeah.
Did she ever get shot in like the chest? She got shot in the chest?
We don't know. She gets shot.
I don't think she got shot in the microchip, you know, so
no.
That is weird. Yeah, that didn't make any sense now that I think about it. I mean, I hate to talk
about it till now, so that's interesting.
I hate to spoil Companion for those who haven't seen it, but like
you can't don't spoil it. That's too of a movie.
I'll just say that that does remind me of a plot element that happens in the third act of that movie that I thought was super clever.
Well, she's not. Well, you know, Christy Swanson's character Sam's not an android here. She's got a chip in her brain, but I mean, apparently she like if we can take that last scene as a true scene and not a dream, she is an android all of a sudden. But
which I don't, and
I
logical
don't either.
People with a brain that works would not. And clearly, you are a person who's logical and has a brain that works. And Kevin also, I think, is a person who is logical and has a brain that works.
Well, I will say,
in the 80s, you wouldn't think that a high school kid would be able to come up with a microchip using AI technology that you can put in your brain and it takes over dead tissue. Either
I'm sorry, but I think even in the 80s, people were walking out of the theater at that ending thinking, "What?"
No.
Oh,
they didn't like it. I've actually ignored that ending until this watch. I've never acknowledged that as a real scene. But then this time I was like, I don't know why. I don't even remember it because I was just like, I'm not even going to acknowledge that.
It almost makes me think of, it almost feels like when I first saw it, I thought this has to be like not the original. Like I feel like there's an alternate ending out there somewhere. It almost reminded me of like the theatrical ending of Night of the Creeps, where it's just the dog and the leech comes out of its face, and cut to black. Cut to black. No, that is. I refuse to acknowledge that ending.
Yeah.
For me, the ending of that movie is burnt to a crisp Tom Atkins zombie walking with a cigarette still in his mouth, walking to the cemetery and cracking his head open, and the leeches go into the cemetery to make more zombies. And then
and then the spaceship shows up. But that's a great that's an awesome ending. But I was so surprised. That was the ending I always thought it was because that's the way I saw it. And then I saw another version. I was just, what is that bullshit ending about?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I wish that this was like that. I wish that there was another an alternate ending. But then again, I feel like this movie ended with that pullout of her body slumped in Paul's arms. The movie's over at that point. There's nothing left.
Yeah, there had to have been another scene though originally shot. I don't think it could just end.
You couldn't end
with
it like that. An 80s movie needed to have that shock ending.
There was probably a scene with the mom, you know. It's probably a scene, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe the version I saw on television didn't have that scene in there because
It probably didn't. I don't know. But you know what? Now that I think about it, because I didn't mention this before, and I want to mention it now, in a weird way, maybe Rubenstein did write this, because now that I think about it, it does sort of kind of harken back to the ending in the book, because in the book, like I said, she takes a swan dive off a bridge, but then Paul looks down. Remember, Paul is a 14-year-old boy in the book, which makes this 10 times darker. He looks down at the bridge and sees her body through the water, and somehow he can hear her say, "Come to me, Paul. Join me, please." And he jumps in after her. And as he is drowning, trying to hug her as they're sinking into the water together, his last thought is basically something like, "So this is what love is.
Be my victim."
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but you can only get that in a book, because without it, because getting people's thoughts like that would be tough to.
Yeah, it would.
get,
It would. But
yeah.
but you do hear her say, "Come to me, join
Right.
me."
Pull it from the book. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is pulled from the book. So I guess that was a very, very half-hearted attempt to try to get that in there.
Yeah. And I think the effect is pretty good, really, in that scene.
Yeah.
It looks good. I mean, you might not like the way the robot looks, but as far as the flesh coming off, I mean, it's a pretty impressive practical special effect.
I like the robot look of it too. I've always just assumed it was a dream sequence and never gave it. I honestly never gave it another thought other than that. Until with this rewatch when we are discussing it, I've never given it another thought. It's always just been a dream sequence to me. The movie was full of other dream sequences, and that's what I just assumed it was.
Yeah, it just fits too much in with the unreality of those last two. I mean, we wouldn't even mention the other sequence that was actually even more frightening. Actually, now that I think about it, nothing could possibly be more frightening than that first abusive dad dream. But the second one is almost as bad, where it's Paul having the nightmare, and in that nightmare, there's like a basketball that apparently is possessed and comes up under his covers. Yeah. And basically is like this possessed basketball. And then it goes and he pulls back the covers, and it's not a basketball. It's the charred head of abusive dad who smiles at him and then like pulls him into the bed. So it's full on Freddy Krueger at that point.
Yeah. That's what happens in New Nightmare too, like that type of shit. We were talking about that last night. It's funny.
So yeah, I mean, clearly it is meant to be a dream sequence. I think if we were to like put a microchip in Wes Craven's corpse and bring him back to life right now, I think we'd asked him right now.
It's too late, man. It's too late.
Before he said, "Put me back in," he would say, "Oh yeah, clearly I meant that to be a dream. That was not intended to be real."
I was kind of like hoping for like an after credit sequence where he wakes up. Me
too, but no. Instead, you get a very creepy baby.
Yeah,
the BB song. There's actually a song that the composer made for it. He was talking about it in his interview on the disc, and he says that he's like the ending. He called it kind of a lark ending. Is how he described it. He's like, I knew it was kind of a lark ending, and so he's like, I made this kind of silly BB song, and I presented it to Wes Craven, and he was like, I like it. I don't know if the studio is going to go for it. And then the studio loved it, so they kept it in there. Huh. And it actually works. It kind of helps. It does kind of help ease that last scene, because you go into this really goofy BB song, because she actually says BB, I think, in the scene when she goes to like kill him, and that was what inspired him to make BB the song.
Interesting.
For the ending. Yeah.
It's a shame it didn't top the charts in Britain.
I know. People don't know about it. Kevin may have the soundtrack to it. You have the soundtrack?
But I have soundtrack.
They have the BB song on it?
You got that crap on vinyl, don't you, Kevin?
No, I don't have it on vinyl. It's a CD. It's a CD. I have not listened to it in a long time. I have a lot of Wes Craven soundtrack.
It's got the BB song on there though, right?
Yeah.
You think? Yeah.
You jam to that, when you're like working on your projects.
They have an extended version of the score for this movie too. So
wow.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. To be honest with you, scores, man, are awesome, man. Going back, that's how I relive my movies when I don't rewatch them. See, you guys may go back through and rewatch these movies 100 times or something. I watch them once, and then I have a score because that score is usually the best thing about most movies that I've watched.
Kevin, I wish I had the time to rewatch a movie 100 times these days because I do not anymore.
In the '80s, and early '90s, I used to rewatch these fucking movies over and over again till forever. But now,
I used to I used to have them on tape, and I would watch that same tape over and over again.
Yeah,
Fast forward through the commercials,
But streaming and all this other shit, there's too much content. There's no way I could possibly rewatch half the shit that I want to see more than once. I have to try and look at it from a critical standpoint the one time that I may ever watch it. So it's always good for us, or in my opinion, when we decide to pick a movie like this, that I said, shit, I ain't seen this motherfucking movie in like 15, 20 years. It just was never that movie once I got out of the 80s that it was a movie that I bothered to go back and watch. It's a less Wes Craven food. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put in the good Wes Craven film. It's not the same as me saying like Serpent and the Rainbow. I've seen Serpent and the Rainbow a lot, enough so that I went out to buy the book and read the book and realized there's none of that in the book and the movie. The movie is completely its own thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think the book was translatable to a fiction film anyways. The way
it's a non-fiction travel log.
It was. Yeah, it would have been hard, but it's a good book. But the thing is, Wes Craven, when he had his nightmares and he wrote them down as films, they tend to be very good films, for the most part. And then, of course, until he made Scream, he was hitting them out of the park all the time for a while there. But this time period right here, we've already discussed, is a time period when he was like, well, there's a TV movie I gotta make. Well,
he was going through some stuff, and he had to pay the bills.
He had to pay. He was a working director who didn't want to get pigeonholed in TV. He didn't want to stop and just do a lot of TV like a lot of directors used to do.
And you know what's sad? Now that I think about it, it's like, man, if he had just said yes to Nightmare 2 and 3, like originally was the plan originally, like he could have avoided all of this, but he just didn't want to.
Yeah, well, he didn't really want to be a horror director. It wasn't until he later embraced it, but it was like he was definitely trying to do something different. Even with this movie, originally supposed to be kind of a family film, even though, like you said, it is kind of, even the story without the graphic violence is still kind of tough for a PG rating. Just the fact that she dies and they bring her back, it's, and she's undead is enough for it not to be that friendly of a film.
Well, yeah, exactly.
You can get around that aspect, but I think what you were saying earlier, that the studio may have kept telling them to add more gore. I guarantee you that he got this assignment before the success of A Nightmare on Elm Street.
He said that.
Only 2 years in between these two, and New Line Cinema was not a huge studio when Nightmare on Elm Street came out.
The writer said they had a like a, what do you call it, like a, when they show it to the test audience. They had a test audience.
Yeah, test audience.
And that was like when the studio decided they needed more additional scenes from the original. But still, though,
apparently because the test audience was filled with fans of Wes Craven's previous work.
Yeah, they're expecting something a little different.
Which, incidentally, now that I think about it, at first I found that hard to believe because I feel like they should vet these people, right? But then I remembered how test screenings actually work, and I remember that in a test screening, most of the time, all that the audience knows is 3 things. Number 1, they know the title of the movie, at least the title at the time of being tested. Number 2, they know the genre of the movie. Actually, there's 4 things. They know the genre and they know the rating, if there is one. And they usually know the director. Like 9 times out of 10, they will say the director of the thing. So they have 4 things that are on that card as you're watching it. And as soon as they put Wes Craven on there, and the movie was called Deadly Friend, even if it was still called Friend at the time, they knew that, the Freddy guy is doing a movie called Deadly Friend. This is going to be freaking sick.
Yeah. But
And
Christy Swanson actually said they changed
yeah,
the name to Deadly Friend while they were still shooting it. She
yeah.
said they started changing the script while they were going because she said it was originally like really light, and then they kept having more horror aspects added to it,
Mm.
which she was delighted about it. Most of the people really in the interviews they were like they were cool with it. They're like, yeah, this is how it happened. It made it better. So it's like, it's,
Oh,
Well, your mileage may vary, folks. You may think this is a travesty against man and God, or you may think this is a misunderstood classic. What do we think about this movie, Kevin?
well, actually, that's a good point that we are at. Is there anything else that you guys want to discuss in regards to Deadly Friend before we get to rating it?
I think we covered it pretty good.
Okay,
I
so
think we've covered it. I think we've covered it better than even Wes Craven has covered it.
wow. All right, so guys, I want to thank you for having this conversation with me in regards to Wes Craven's Deadly Friend. For everyone else out there who is listening, what we love to do is we love to rate the film. Well, what we do is we rate the film between 1 and 5, 1 being poor, 5 being amazing. But what we like to do is we like to take a quote, object, or saying out of the film in order to attribute to our rating. So that being said, what is your rating and what object, quote, or saying do you attribute to your rating? And we're going to start with you, Mr. Thomas.
Mr. Thomas Tinnerillo, what do I do? Well, usually it's really hard for me to narrow it down, but in this case, it's not hard at all. It's really not. I think there's only one thing I could possibly pick. So I think I'm going to rate this motion picture, this unfortunate skid bump in Wes Craven's otherwise legendary career. I'm actually going to rate it. I was going to go 2.5, but now I think I'm just going to go with 2 full exploding basketballs that destroy Anne Ramsey's head out of 5.
Okay. And what
It's
about
average.
Yeah, I knew he was going to pick the basketball.
so did I?
I have a list of other stuff. None of it's as good as that, though.
I'm sorry.
Let's go. I'll go with the Spock hands, like Christy Swanson's Spock hands.
What? Spot
When her
hand?
hands look like Spock,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Got the in the middle. So I'm gonna go with those. And I like this movie. I think it's. I have a fondness from it from watching when I was younger, and I think it's fun, even though it has a lot of flaws to it. I'll give it 3 stars. There's 3 Spock hands. Yeah,
Three claw hands, which apparently
claw
I
hands.
think that was probably her mime coach's idea. Because
Yeah.
I looked in the credits and it had like a Christy Swanson's movement mime coach.
Yeah.
And
So yeah.
yeah.
So they're talking. Yeah, they're actually talking about that a little bit. He was like, it was unfortunate because basically had to make her move like the robot, and he's like, we looked at the robot, and this is all the robot does is his arms move a little bit, and it's like, and then she basically had to kind of mimic that most of the time, and she just kind of looks a little goofy when she's moving around.
It does.
All right. So I'm going to give it because of the nostalgia factor, really. If I had not seen this movie for the podcast, I probably would give it a little higher because your memory as a kid is always much fonder than as an adult. So I'm going to give it 2. Shit, I have my object too. 2.5 BB. So I'm gonna give him that. Because that's annoying as hell when you the more you watch the movie, it's annoying as hell because you just think he should say more than just BB.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's some other like it kind of reminds me of something else though that like keeps saying its name over and over again.
I think you're maybe thinking of the little robot in the Flash Gordon, not Flash Gordon, in the Buck Rogers series.
Buck Rogers.
Buck Rogers.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's funny though, just for like something to just keep saying its own name over and over again. Like that's like you know what it is? It's Groot. That's what makes me think
I am
of
Groot.
because Groot. That's all he says. It is like
I am
yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, so with that, I am Groot. Hope that you have all enjoyed this conversation in horror in which we discussed Wes Craven's Deadly Friend. Please make sure to like, follow, share, do that thing you do with your favorite podcast, your favorite podcast app, Spotify, or YouTube. And please make sure to check out our other podcast, Conversations in Hammer Studio Horrors, in which we delve into the amazing oeuvre of films from the 60s, 70s, and 80s that were produced by the Hammer Studio film company. So with that, hope you have a pleasant day, and please be careful with your basketball because you don't know what it may explode into. Conversations in Horror is a Broken Lighthouse Pictures production, written, produced, and directed by Kevin L. Powers, executive producer Kelly A. Inoka. All contents and material from this episode of Conversations in Horror is copyright 2025 Broken Lighthouse Pictures.